Hey guys, welcome back. We are the Lorcana Beehive, and this is episode 2 of the Lore Lowdown. In case you missed it, in episode 1, we gave our introductions and a little bit of how we wanted this podcast to go, a little bit of what we wanted to talk about, basically why we were making it. This week, we're back again, and we're going to have a lot to talk about this time. And we're going to kick it off with, did you want to talk about the Rapunzel's Act of Kindness effect?
Yeah, I'd love to talk about the Rapunzel Act of Kindness ability that I was short on last week. There was a segment there where I had mentioned that I wasn't sure if the moving of damage counters that you would do with, say, like a Belle, Accomplished Mystic, or the new Cheshire Cat boost card would avoid Rapunzel's Act of Kindness effect, which is a brief reminder. That Act of Kindness effect, I'm paraphrasing here, but what it does is that if you target a character with support, it prevents that character from being damaged the next time it would be dealt damaged until the start of your next turn. And so if you're putting damage counters, that effectively avoids that statement of dealing damage, just like it would with, say, a resist. So side note on that from last week, I wanted to come in and give that little judge feedback for everyone.
So you're saying that the placing of damage counters bypasses it?
Correct. Yeah.
Build damage counters and okay, cool. So, one other thing. Sorry, this is Kevin. Hi, welcome back to episode 2, everyone. And the other thing that I don't want to dive too deep into technicals right off the bat, but this effect actually had a lot of people up in arms. And specifically how this effect interacts with resist. So if you were to have Rapunzel on the field and then also have, I think the example I heard today was Rhino, the 4-drop Rhino that has resist with no damage on it. And if you were to give support to Rhino with Rapunzel on the field, giving it the Act of Kindness effect, and then you were to deal, let's say, 2 damage to that card with Fire the Cannons or something, what comes into play first, the resist or the Act of Kindness? And the answer that I received was that both of those effects go into the bag, and then the active player, the person who owns the Rhino gets to choose which one happens first. So either the damage is dealt and then the resist is applied, or the damage is dealt and then the Act of Kindness is taken into effect. But it's really tricky because if you are dealing 2 damage and you say, hey, let's have resist apply first, and it's resist 2, then it does 0 damage. And does that act of dealing 0 damage nullify the Act of Kindness effect from Rapunzel or not? And as for my understanding, the jury is still out. So
I can actually simplify all of this very easily. So first of all, Act of Kindness and resist are not trigger effects, so they never enter a bag. So neither of those are a thing happened and thus the effect applies. Resist and Act of Kindness are both what are called replacement effects. And so they're saying when something was going to happen, it's no longer going to happen in the same manner, effectively. I'm paraphrasing again, but look up the glossary in the comprehensive guide, or the comprehensive rules that states about replacement effects, all right? And it actually does have an Act of Kindness section in the replacement effects section as well. And so the key here with the Act of Kindness is that it is specific to damage being dealt. So first off, if you're dealing 0 damage, you're dealing no damage. So then Act of Kindness never gets popped, right? You're not popping that shield effectively. And then beyond that, if you have Act of Kindness placed on a resist character, the resist occurs during the damage calculation. So if you say, I'm going to attack a Rhino and Rhino's resist 2, correct?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Rhino, it's Power Hamster, correct?
Right. As long as there's no on it, it's resist 2.
Yeah, so he's resist 2 as long as he has no damage on him. So if he has no damage on him and you're attacking him with a 2 strength character, then you would be applying 0 damage, right? Mm-hmm. And so then Act of Kindness wouldn't proc, the character would take no damage, you would just move on with your day.
And then if you got attacked by or challenged by something with 4 damage,
then Act of Kindness would then proc, and you would take 0 damage again.
0. Cool.
And so
good to know.
So that's how you have to think about it. But no, it's not a decision. Now, back to the Act of Kindness, though. If you have Act of Kindness procced twice on a character, The question that most people have is, does that mean that I can have something hit it once and then something hit it twice? Do I have two shields in front of it? Right? Which is not true, right? So the specifics of the replacement effects, going back to that, is that you cannot have two of the same replacement effect in play. And so you have to pick one, and then the other one goes away. And
or they combine, right? In the case of resist, if you give something resist 2 and then you give it resist 1, it's now resist 3.
Resist stacks, but the replacement effect of the act of kindness is different from resist in that manner, where the act of kindness is like a one-time thing. And
so, they are additive, but act of kindness cannot add itself because it's not a number.
Right. But yeah, there's a specific section within the comprehensive rules. If you guys are ever interested, jump in there, read through it. And in the most recently released set notes that they just put on the Lorcana Rulebook Hub, if you go into there, open up that set release notes, it is the last section in there that it talks about act of kindness and how it can't have two events of act of kindness at the same time.
Another handy place to look up these kinds of things is in the Lorcana app as well. Sometimes they'll have an FAQ on a card. I think it's scroll down on the card. I just checked, and Rapunzel has not updated with an FAQ yet, but I'd expect it to be there in the coming weeks.
Highly likely.
So if you're question about a ruling specific to a singular character, try checking the app first before you dig deeper online.
Absolutely. That was an awesome question, though, Kevin. Thank you, dude.
Yeah.
Oh, cool effect, and I'm really glad that the community is so responsive with all of these hypotheticals that really get you thinking. So.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Well, there's also been some big news about Richmond. Some changes to the DLC prize structure, as well as a Friday event, have been added to the schedule. Judge Justin, you're familiar with the DLCs. You want to speak to that too?
Oh my gosh. If you haven't attended a DLC, I feel like this is the DLC to attend. I'm already calling it at this point. I think that there's going to be just absolutely nothing but one of the craziest, most exciting events to be a part of. There's something to do on every single day. Not even just the competitor badges that are a huge hit here. The $25 that you would spend on an attendee badge is going to be worth it. Let's just hit the Friday event, because that's the one that everybody's been talking about. And the Friday side event, the main side event for Friday, there's other side events that are like core constructed and, you know, team trios and some fun stuff like that, right? Some fun, Toolie events. But the main side event, the pre-game promo quest that they're doing on Friday, it is a core constructed, competitive 7 rounds, best of 3, and they're all Swiss rounds, so there's no top cut here. The way that the prizes are going to be awarded for this, if you get 7 wins, you're getting a non-foil promo playset. Okay, non-foil promo playset. So that means you're getting a Dragonfire, you're getting a Let It Go, you're getting a Mulan Charging Ahead, and a Simba Pride Protector, and an Elsa Ice Maker, and a Pegasus. 6 promos playset, so 4 of each, plus the Mulan Charging Ahead playmat for 7 wins. For 6 wins, non-foil promo set, so all 6 of those cards plus Mulan Charging Ahead playmat. And the final one, which is 5 wins, is a non-foil promo set. So 6 cards. And then beyond that, you also get ticks awarded. So you're not only getting these promo cards, but you're also getting ticks awarded. And it's 1,000 ticks per win, 200 ticks per loss, and 600 ticks per draw. And as Sam mentioned, the prizing structure has been modified. So you're actually in a position where the playmats, instead of where they were before, you're looking at 18,000 on the playmats. So if you do well on Friday, you could be well halfway to a second playmat in addition to the Mulan Charging Ahead playmat that you've already grabbed. So, I mean, just Friday alone is amazing. Go to we'll post up some of the location for this Pastimes DLC information on the Lorcana Beehive. So go on there, pull it up, go check this out. This is going to be huge. So please take a look at it. And ticket sales go live tomorrow when we're recording this, probably today when you're listening. But that would be on Monday, November 10th at 11 a.m. Mountain Time.
Okay.
Get in line. It's going to sell out quick.
Yep.
And for those that don't know, too, the Lorcana Beehive is a Discord channel, so look for us there. If you're not aware, we have a bunch of channels in here. We have some news, some tournament events, too. If you're a Utah local, definitely check us out.
Absolutely. That's going to be so much fun. I've been to a couple of DLCs in the first season, the first competitive season, and I had a blast every single time I went. So I just, I can't gush about how much I enjoyed those events. So
Absolutely.
Everyone I traveled to has been awesome so far, and they keep getting better too. Side events get better, prizes get better. Can't wait
And
to see if I get to win the ticket lottery. If I get to see if I get to go to Richmond this time. I want to.
I'll keep my fingers crossed for you all day. So
Yeah.
yeah. I'm going to post out my judge application for Richmond as soon as possible. So we'll see if I get selected for judging of Richmond and go from there. So maybe I'll see you there to judge while you're competing.
Yeah, if anybody's there, come say what's up. If you see either of us, say hello. We'd love to talk to you.
Absolutely.
absolutely.
You planning on going, Kevin? Or are you going to enter the lottery tomorrow?
I might try. It really does depend on my availability at the turn of the month, or at the turn of the year, actually. So working a few jobs, and I'm not sure if we'll have that time, but we'll see. So if I have the ability to, I certainly want to make it out there. Virginia's a good spot to visit, and DLC is a good reason to be there.
Absolutely. Very exciting.
Yeah, good stuff. Exciting stuff. Can't wait. Yeah, last week we talked a little bit about the meta, and for those that don't know about what a meta game is in a card game, it's usually just depicting what the trend is, best decks, why people play certain cards. So the meta game is what's going on inside the game, kind of like what the top players are doing, what everybody tends towards. So this time, there's a huge meta shakeup with the addition of some purple cards, some amethyst cards, some legendaries. They shifted everything around, and if you were around last set champs, you noticed a surprising amount of the blurple deck. So that is Amethyst Sapphire, and why it was good was ramp, right? So you ramp into your Hades, you ramp into your Elsa, shift the game on every turn. After you ramp, you probably playing something impactful. On 3, you'd play a Genie. On 5 or 4 or Ink, you would play an Elsa. Or turn 4, you'd play an Elsa. And then turn 5 was, you had TikTok in the deck. You had just 2 characters. And then the next turn, you'd play Hades. So from the minute you ramped, you were doing something every turn to impact the game. But this set has kind of pushed Blurple aside. And if you're wondering why that is, it is due to the fact that you are no longer the top dog when it comes to ramp. Decks that you'd have a struggle with Blurple in the past were Green-Blue is one of them. Surprisingly, that Blue Steel, the Sapphire Steel deck that was built more towards you'd play Robin Hood, that when you have less cards than your opponent, you draw a card. You could play the Vincenzo Santorini that it
Big
comes
bomb.
into play, it deals 3 damage.
Big bomb.
That deck was kind of a sleeper, almost a counter to Blurple. It had a pretty decent matchup, and the reason for that is you can only clear so many things with Hades. So if your opponent just plays a bomb every single turn, and a bomb is something that costs a lot, has a lot of willpower, it's hard to get rid of. So you had pretty much, 7 to 8 options, depending. You had 4 Hades and 4 Into the Unknowns. And after that, you had to rely on your characters. And Genie, I'm sorry to say, just can't get it done.
No way.
And this set, there is a ton of that. Cindy unlocked that Sapphire Steel deck to come fully online. You get to play things with synergy to the Cinderella as well. You get to play Namari, which is already a princess. So she comes down. Every turn you're going to draw a card, discard a card. She's going to have outrageous strength from the second you play her. Then every turn after that, you're playing something huge. You're playing 6-drop Tinkerbell. You're playing Hades. You're playing the new Headless Horseman that has a crazy on-play effect. So that's going to be tough for a deck like Blurple, who really just values its Hades turn. It's going to no longer compete. And there is a little 3-drop that kind of ruins Blurple's whole game plan in the form of Lexington. Now, he is a gargoyle that comes into play, and he has the alert keyword. Alert is, on your turn, it gains evasive, basically just taking that old text and putting it into a keyword, and is a 4/4. So going into your Genie turn, you have something that can just immediately take it out. So you no longer win the evasive war against something like Lexington. You're going to see that card in any steel deck that's not hyper ramp, I should say. So Amethyst Steel is going to play that card. And then your early game kind fizzles now against Amethyst Steel before you had a really good matchup because your evasives were always stronger than everything Amethyst Steel played. You play a Genie, it was hard to get rid of. You play a Dumbo, hard to get rid of. And then you had Elsa and TikTok, which control all of what Amethyst Steel wants to do, as well as the Madam M Elephant, just huge body, deals with Amethyst Steel cards very well. The Amethyst Steel now shifts into more of these high-value Gargoyle cards. So you have Lexington on your 3, and then 4 you get to play a Genie of your own. But you also get to sing, with that Genie, you get to sing Thunderbolts. So another option with Genie that Blurple doesn't really have. So you're going to see Blurple kind of come out of the meta a little bit, probably drop down a few pegs, and then a few things will take its spot. Notably, Amethyst Emerald is a kind of on the rise as well. Is there anything you guys have seen that you want to talk about?
Well, I mean, for me, I haven't seen a whole ton of matches from this recent set yet. It is so brand new. But one of the things I know were really exciting, I think you've already covered, is the Sapphire Steel. And I'm not so sure. I know that there's a Sapphire Steel's current iteration is really powerful into the old Blurple. But Blurple, it had, a core of somewhere around 35 to 40 cards, but the rest were kind of flexible. So I fully expect that Amethyst Sapphire is going to reinvent itself in the light of the new counter cards, the cards that threaten its gameplay, and we're going to see something come up from that is new and dangerous, because those two color combos, they're the most colorful ink colors in the game. Sapphire.
It's the new Amethyst Ruby, right? Where they just kind of fix itself to the meta, and then they're always there.
Yeah,
100%. 100%. But I think the one that's kind of exciting for me is to see the Sapphire and Ruby reinvention as well, reemerge. Because I think a lot of people are really excited to use this new Cinderella to heavy ramp into the big, like you said, the bombs that Ruby can provide. The stereotypical one that everyone likes to point to is the dragon, the 9-drop Maleficent dragon, which is, just Hades but better. But there's a lot of different ones out there that are threatening, like the Maui Shark combos, and the people are liking the Tremaine, and people are liking the new, what's that new action that came out? The Olympus.
Is the Hercules one?
Next Stop Olympus.
Next Stop Olympus. Right.
I really want to see that fire off and see some action, because number one, I love the art on the Enchanted. I just want to see it on the board. And number two, I think it's a really exciting card, especially in light of Maui Shark.
I know it's going to start looping sharks, right?
It's a little gimmicky. You can consider that, because it does require a specific board state to be able to loop and get all those challenges. But it's a threat. And it's a real threat. If you see Ruby, you better be expecting that.
Yeah, I mean, not to mention something that that kind of jumped out to me when I was reading the set notes today was the Hercules, the legendary Hercules, Mighty Leader. So his text reads, "This character cannot be dealt damage unless he's being challenged." And then additionally to that, while this character is exerted, your other hero characters cannot be dealt damage unless they're being challenged. So being challenged is very different than challenging, in case you were wondering. So that means when you're attacking something, you're not taking any damage for that, as long if Hercules is on the field, and if he's exerted, guess who's also not taking damage? My wife mentioned this, Alicia Smith, big shout out to her. Maui Half Shark is a hero by fact. So you're not going to take any damage with your Maui Half Shark as you are challenging into people and then returning those action cards to your hand as well. So very fun synergies. Sam, you asked if I had a thought about the meta. I have no clue what's going to happen with this meta. I have no idea. I think all bets are off. I do believe the Amethyst Amber is my theory for aggro. Now, I have nothing to back this theory other than the new Sebastian card that is a 2-cost uninkable that quests for 3. That's the jump out to me that says, hey, maybe we could see the resurgence of this hyper aggro iteration of Amethyst Amber. So I don't know.
It's definitely not going anywhere.
Yeah, I think there's some stuff.
And Amethyst Emerald as well, or not Amethyst, Amber Emerald as well. Both of those are probably, you're going to see equal amounts of play. Both of those are very good right now. Well, if you want just a very quick rundown of what the consensus is, at least week 1 of the top 3 decks, you've got that Sapphire Steel. You've got Amethyst Steel, and then you have the Sapphire Emerald. It's kind of similar to what it was last set, except for it got a bunch of new tools. The Malicious, Mean, and Scary is a 3-cost action that puts a damage counter on every one of your opponent's characters.
Unfair.
And then
unfair is all I'm saying.
So they swapped out their removal in the form of Under the Sea combo with the heads held high. Now you run that Malicious, Mean, and Scary action, as well as there's a Prince Philip when it comes into play. It's an evasive 6/4 that quests for 3, and on play banishes every damaged character your opponent has on the board.
Yep.
So that is a very strong deck. It's very combo heavy, which has its pros and cons. So expect to see a lot of that. It's very flashy. People love to play it. So
honestly,
looking through set champ era, count on those 3 being there.
I look at that combo and I seriously miss some of our pre-rotation cards, like Do It Again and Bibbidi Bobbidi Boo.
Yep.
Could you just like doing that combo of Malicious, Mean, and Scary, and then Prince Philip, and then the next turn you're just like, we're gonna do it again, and then Bibbidi him, and then it wipes your entire board again. You're just like, you're done, you're toast.
I was looking at a rule question earlier today, and it, back to Bibbidi Bobbidi Boo. You mentioned that. I was looking at a rule question earlier today, and it was there's a Mickey Mouse and Emerald. I can't remember what cost it is, but then they were talking about potentially returning a 3-cost card to their hand and then playing the Mickey from Fabled, the Brave Little Prince, and he's a shift 5, right? But he's a 3-cost card. You can still play him as a 3-cost card and choose to do the shift ability and not have to pay anything for it because you are using Bibbidi Bobbidi Boo to do it, and you're playing it for free. But you can choose that it's a shift, and so now you have this Brave Little Prince for very little cost to you on the field, but it only works in our great format of Infinity constructed, so not core constructed, obviously. So, but it was very fun. There was a real question on it, and I thought that was funny that you mentioned Bibbidi Bobbidi Boo. So
wait, I just a little clarification on that. Are you saying that the Brave Little Prince, the one that has the shift for 5 and then gets the bonus if there's a card underneath it, you're saying that you can play Bibbidi Bobbidi Boo on that card? And it gets its effect playing it for shift?
You don't play it on that card, but if you play it on a 3-cost, because Brave Little Prince is a 3-cost card, you play it for free, and you can choose to do shift to play it for free. You then bypass the ink because you're playing it for free.
Wait, what?
Yeah.
But it doesn't get the bonus, though, because there's no card under it, right?
Because you shifted it. Because, well, if you have to have another Mickey in play first, right? There has to be another Mickey in play and a 3-cost in play. You return a 3-cost. You play the 3-cost Mickey, and you can shift it because you've returned a 3-cost card.
That makes sense. Yeah. That makes also super cool. Like, what a fun interaction.
Yeah, it was a fun. Like, somebody brought it up on the rulebook hub, and then the person who responded to it, the rules, I guess ambassador that came back and responded to it, said, yeah, they actually thought about that interaction specifically when they were creating Brave Little Prince, and it's one of the reasons why Bibbidi Bobbidi Boo was not included in reprints.
It's the only card that does what it does, and I'm so upset because it was so tricky.
Yeah.
Well, along the lines of recursion too, with that blue-green deck, there is a new card came out last set. Max Goof, the 6-drop.
Yeah.
Can play the song from your discard pile. Gives you an extra outlet for the combo. So with the Max Goof, you can play the Malicious, Mean, and Scary from your discard, and then if you have a Prince John in hand, you can do the combo just by questing with that Max Goof. The deck already runs the Mother Knows Best too, so you can return your own Prince Philip to your hand if you're in a bind, and then sing from discard, play that. Unlocks a few kind of synergies, and it also comes out right on curve, so if you're playing the Cinderella curve, you're going to ramp on 2, ramp on 3 with Cinderella, and then you get to play 6-drop the following turn. So perfect time for Max Goof. Another kind of interesting spot in that list as well is Shere Khan. And when that quest, it just banishes a damaged character. So more synergies with Malicious, Mean, and Scary. Expect big things from the blue-green deck because there's cards people haven't thought of yet, and they're going to come back in a big way, I think.
More power to the blue-green players. I think this deck is so much fun.
It's fun to watch too, as a commentator. Give me more of that. I can be hype all day.
Absolutely. I guess I'm gonna have to go bite the bullet and get my Clarabelles. Then is that what you're telling me? I gotta go bite the bullet and pick them up.
If you haven't had Clarabelles yet, that was a mistake.
Yeah, that was a big mistake. I missed them when they were $15. That was a rough day.
Yeah, they're sitting around 25 at the moment, I think. So
27 is what I'm seeing right now. So it's even worse.
It might go down. Don't hold me to this, but I don't think that is the most important card in that deck anymore. It was very good into purple cards because they drew, but if you see a fall of blurple, you might see a fall in the popularity of Clarabelle.
Makes sense.
Just inherently. So
right,
might drop a little bit, but it still won't be back to that $15 price anytime soon.
Yeah, we'll probably see a drop of the cow and see an increase in the new Webby duck because blue is where. So.
Oh yeah.
Well, we've already seen the Webby jump up, so very exciting.
Well, I mean, Cinderella, the more we're going to see Webby. They're inverse. They are the same side, two sides of the same coin.
Two sides of the same coin, absolutely. So, Sam, your prediction, as you mentioned, we're going into. You're saying tier? Are we saying tier 1? Are those 3 decks you mentioned? Are those tier 1?
Yeah. Those are large majority. Those are the top 3 decks, and you can kind of order them in any order you want. Personal preference at your discretion right there, but those are the 3, yeah. And then there's a couple decks that kind of are up there, but maybe like a tier 1.5. That would be your Amber Steel and your Amber Emerald.
Amber Emerald,
both the aggro variants.
And you think
they kind of have a
drops
tough time
completely out then? It drops to a tier 2 at this point, is your thoughts?
That's what we expect, but just like Kevin said,
they could just tool it up.
Lots of variants and ways you can build that list, so don't expect it to leave completely. It can still do things, and it does them very well. So you'll see more stuff like Monstro, various options, probably in the top end. Just depends. If we had that Ursula from set 4 that opponents couldn't exert to sing songs, you'd see that. That would keep it in the meta, I think.
Yep.
But the swing of Thunderbolts, I think, is just a little too strong when you're trying to face against Amethyst Steel. Yeah,
that adding that card back, I think that was the main thing that I noticed. Bringing in And Along Came Zeus at home, or the meme of, hey, Mom, I want And Along Came Zeus, and no, son, we have And Along Came Zeus at home, and now it's in the form of he hurled his lightning or his thunderbolts. So we're dealing 4 damage now. We're not dealing 5, and we're also not able to target locations anymore with it. But it's still the 4 cost uninkable song that we can get out there and make a big hit with. So right when you add that and the non-conditional factor of it, where Strength of a Raging Fire, you obviously have to have characters on board for Strength of a Raging Fire to be able to deal damage. This being able to just deal damage when you've only got a single character on board, it just changes the game and brings good old Ursula into the discussion. And that's where I think that Amethyst Emerald could be pretty interesting, because you want Ursula to be able to target those early songs and really kind of put some pressure on your opponent to think on their feet.
Along with that Ursula, I forgot about this deck too, the Amethyst Emerald deck, probably in that 1.5 tier 1.5 range. You got a lot of tools. Amethyst cards are super scary. Demona's very good. Hades is very good. And then you still had that pull the lever synergy. So expect to see that one as well.
Pull the lever, Kronk.
Best, by the way, Emperor's New Groove, best Disney movie ever made, like hands down. But I remember when the pull the lever and wrong lever combo was really powerful. It was when we had Diablo, the shift Diablo, then discard the action, and then you could just use it later, right? What in this new set, just because I haven't seen any lists for Emerald Amethyst yet, what makes that combo so scary? Because it seems slow to me.
You get to do it a turn earlier with the form of Webby. So if you're playing against a ramp deck, right, usually you wouldn't have a way to combat that, and Hey was a little bit too slow. But if you get the Webby combo, you get a shift on turn 2 and then ramp. So if blue ramps, you're just following suit. You get a ramp by yourself as well. And then now you have a 4-drop on board, which can kind of sing Mother Knows Best. With that, you set up the board a little bit better for that pull the lever to come out. and Bobby. So Bobby Zimmerowski actually gets to discard the lever you don't need, right? The lever you want in your discard. That was the big thing about Diablo, was Diablo got your lever into the discard pile. Now you can play Bobby Zimmerowski and it does the same thing. So you get your lever, and then on turn 3 you don't lose tempo anymore, because now you get to play the lever and put their character on the bottom of the deck if you want, or you just get to save that for whenever you need it.
That makes sense. That makes sense. The Bobby, good. And as well as the Yzma. I think there's an Yzma that does the same thing, but I think is less popular because it's like a 2-drop.
Yeah. Bobby's the main reason, and then Webby also just is Webby, so very good card. If you don't answer it immediately, it's just going to ramp with you the whole time. So you can't have Amethyst doing that.
Side note, I haven't pulled a single Webby, so not one of them.
I haven't seen that card either.
She's been an evasive duck for me, so...
She has ward, right? So
yeah.
Hard.
She's tough to target.
Yep. She typically gets 2 quests off at that early in the game against blue decks, because they're not... Well, yeah. Because it's really hard to deal 4 damage through something that's not a song. And she has ward, so you'd have to have something crazy.
The only thing that I can think of that could even threaten it would be Basil plus something, or Basil plus something, right?
Yeah. Yeah. So the one downside to Webby is you need 2 cards combo. It's a little bit better to do against, like, if you compare it to Diablo, because Diablo is a 3-card combo. But Webby, it's kind of in that same vein where the games you have Webby are going to feel drastically different than games that you don't. So that's why that deck's not going to be tier 1, is just because of the volatility of your start.
Well, it also feels like one of those cards that it's good going second, right? Like it's one of those, like, you're able to claw back, and you're not good going second, but basically it's the card you want to play it going second, because you need them to have the extra ink to be able to actually benefit out of it. So it definitely feels like one of those cards that I think the players may not have asked for, but probably wanted, which was something to even up that dice roll meta that we experienced last set, right? Which, I mean, I think we all know, right? It felt like you won the dice roll, you basically had kind of a 70% chance of victory as long as you didn't just completely beat yourself, right?
Absolutely.
And the faster they get to that Hades turn, they're going to be loving life, because now they have levers, they have Hades. It's going to come at you pretty fast, so... It looks like a pretty fun deck. I personally don't like relying on that shift combo. When you compare it to something like a blue deck, right? Blue's running 1 jump, so you have on top of Cindy you have 10 ramp cards, so you're almost always going to see a ramp.
Yeah, it's very, very small chance that you won't. I think it's like in the 1 to 3% chance that you won't.
Yeah, it's really, really small, and that's what we have games 2 and 3 for too. So.
Excellent. So yeah, I mean, you heard it here first on the Lore Lowdown here, episode 2. We've got some new champions coming through, so maybe look and do some playtesting. When you guys do playtesting, question for you on this one, how do you guys go about it? I mean, I've kind of created this new method, or not a new method. I've created a method over the last year of my Lorcana playing, and it's turned into, like, you know, just hit up some proxies, throw some proxies together. Don't go run out and buy every card that you need right away unless you feel like it's going to be a card you absolutely have to have. And then from there, you know, play it out, feel how you go about it, and then when it comes time for tournament time, go source some cards, right? That's been what kind of my model has been. What do you guys do?
I'm very much the same way. If there's not an event that I know I'm going to play a certain card, I will wait. I'll proxy. I'll jam games on any way I can, online or in friend groups, whatever. But that's the best way, is just proxy. Another good tool when you're playtesting is, if you're playing a ramp deck, just start with ramp. You kind of want the best version of your deck when you're playtesting, and you want your opponent to have the same thing. You don't want to, if you're just dead drawing the whole time, that's not going to help you. Right. It might help you 1 or 2 times because you want to know how to play out of a dead draw situation. But if you're playtesting a deck, you're assuming that you're playing it to its fullest capability. So don't miss ramp, proxy what you need, and then if you're comfortable, then you start sourcing the cards. Because some of these CCQs, it's not really the case, though, because CCQ Vegas is in 2 weeks. You can't really wait on that. You just kind of have to pull the trigger. So
absolutely. And for me, it's very similar, where I want to be playing a deck that I'm interested in, that I enjoy playing, and that I want to be playing the lines that I feel the most powerful. So it totally start out with the cards that you feel are going to be running the deck at its full capacity. And then if there's any counter decks, try and play against your hard match, because, at least for me, playing against the hard match I find to be the best practice. If I was playing aggro, then I definitely wanted to be playing against some mid-range decks or some steel decks that could hard counter it. Or stack the the opposing hand with the cards that are fit to beat it. And then you can try and exercise those muscles of anticipating what it has, trying to play around it, playing those little bit of mind games, like trying to bait it out to the best of your ability and then come back with a tempo swing the next turn. But honestly, proxies are the most efficient and cost-effective way to practice the game, so I highly recommend using proxies.
I like it. Yeah, I think there's a lot of really fun stuff that you can do to kind of push through, and I like the way you both mentioned something that I want to highlight that I've done before, but not because I thought it was a good thing to do or not because I actually knew what I was doing, but it's, doing those matchups against the decks that are going to be challenging, and then also get the right opener, right? Like don't just sit there and let chance decide it every single time. Obviously understand how you want to mulligan at some point, right? You definitely need to go through that process, but also understand what is your best hand. What is the one that, like, I used to joke about it with Amber Steel last set, Exodia, right? What is your Exodia, right? Like, where are you going to hit that hand that you're like, this is going to win me the game most of the time, right? And play with that, understand it inside and out. That way, you know how to just rock it when you get that Exodia hand, and you can get that confidence in there. But yeah, I think there's some really good advice there, and I like what you mentioned there, Kevin, with the matchup, right? I really want to, on future episodes of this podcast, talk about specific matchups for the top meta decks and their weaknesses. Because something that I found empowering as a player, as a very new player and a very inexperienced player, was to say, I know that I am poorly matched against this deck. I understand that in my brain. And so I can come into that matchup, not with the expectation to lose, because obviously you don't want to do that, right? We want to win every game we play. But with the expectation that I know that this is going to be challenging, and I know that there are certain outs, and I need to find those outs every time. So that was one thing that I wanted to highlight too, out of the two things, out of what you guys said. That was awesome.
For sure. And I think you brought up another good point, which is you can practice the mulligan. I think it's a lot of fun, actually, during spare time to be like, oh, let's just look at the top 7, or in between games. Be like, let's look at the top 7, mulligan, see what I get, try and work with it, and then rinse and repeat, because that is also a muscle that needs to be tuned. Understanding what you're looking for, and then trying to mulligan, and then play with what you got, because sometimes you just get a bad hand. Sometimes you're playing aggro, and you get all 3 drops, and that's just what you get.
One thing along with that, we kind of found helpful right when this game first came out. So it's Chapter 1, Ursula's Return, right up through that era, was when me and my friends were playtesting, we'd kind of keep track of what our mulligan could have been, right? You take a picture of your mulligan, and then during the game, kind of think back to why I would want to keep cards for specific matchups, right? So if you have a picture, it's really easy to think, oh, now it's the turn 2 or 3, and keeping this card would have been more valuable than the chance to get a different card, right? So I guess that's a strategy you could do as well, is keep track of your mulligans, maybe just take a picture, and then later the game kind of compare where you're at versus what you could have had. It's handy if you're struggling with what to mulligan and win. And then there's kind of 2 strategies, right? We were talking about you can just kind of tailor your hand, right? You can have the perfect start. And the other option is just to jam games. Just play as many games as you can. If you know it's cooked, then you just go again. So,
yeah,
scoop
and go,
Yep.
right? Just practice that muscle memory of just scoop and go, right?
Mm-hmm. Games are very, very swingy, and your first 4 turns matter. So you want to practice those right now. But further down the line, if you're playing like that Sapphire Steel deck, you're going to want to practice a late game. You're going to want to practice holding on to resources. So a mirror match in that's going to feel very different than, a mirror match in any of the other decks, because you are strategically throwing down resources, and it's a resource management game. So if you're not well versed in that, it's a good thing to practice is just play late game. So start with maybe just throw out 7 ink and then start playing.
Yep. Well, with that in mind, do we want to jump into some pre-release stuff, some awesome events that we've had over the last weekend? Obviously, this is a huge episode, right? Because the new set's out. So.
Mm-hmm. I mean, I can talk about the one that one of my favorite ones is run by Game Grid Lehigh. Mm-hmm. What they do is they have a league, and they have a big first week sealed league where you get a few packs, you build a 40 card deck, and they have a bunch of giveaways. And then every week for 4 weeks, you go back in, you buy your ticket, get a couple more packs, modify your deck, and then you play over a month, so over that 4 weeks, and there are new packs and giveaways every single week. And I think they give great value to the players that attend. And obviously they want them to come back every week, so that's why they have it set up in such a pattern. But I think they really make it worth your while.
Mm-hmm.
So I hadn't really heard about that. So you take your initial 4 packs, is it?
I think it's 4.
4, and then you build a deck, and then next week you have to bring that same deck you built and then modify it from 2 new additional packs?
Usually you leave the deck there.
Yeah.
Oh.
I was going to say, most stores will just say you keep your deck here. That way you can't muck with it.
Modify it.
Right?
Yeah. That's cool. I haven't ever played in something like that.
It's so much fun.
It's really interesting.
And they allow you to play catch-up. Like, I wasn't able to attend the first week, but if you want to go and you want to attend the league anytime during those 4 weeks, you go in, you pay for your packs, you pay for your tickets, and they give you everything up to that point, so you can make a deck and kind of catch up.
Wow.
That's amazing. And so is it 4 packs every single week then? Is that what you said? Or is it just 4?
It's 4 packs for the first week. I think it's 4, maybe 5, I forget. Mm-hmm. And then 2 packs every week after that.
Excellent. And what's the entry for league there?
I think the entry ticket is just $5, but then you also pay for your packs.
Oh, then you pay for your packs on top of that?
Mm-hmm.
Makes sense. Excellent.
Yeah, that's really cool. And then they have just the same league pricing?
They have like giveaways that they do, and then they do a pack per win every week.
Oh, nice. Awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Amazing.
So yeah,
I missed that weekly $5 tournament that was pack per win. I used to play that in Yu-Gi-Oh, and that was my every Friday.
All right.
Go jam 3 games and then walk away with 3 packs.
I think their league's on Tuesdays.
Okay.
If I recall correctly, I believe that the league for Kayfabe does do pack per win, if I recall correctly. I don't know if it still does, but I haven't been able to attend, but they do theirs on Tuesdays at 7 p.m. For Kayfabe. So
I know all of the stores up north are most inconvenient days for me. Like there's a weekly league on Mondays that I just cannot go to.
Yep.
And it's the same with a lot of my friends too. So they usually do a pack per win tournament, but only if they get enough people. And unfortunately, like 4 or 5 of us can't go on Mondays, so it just fizzles every week. But they're changing locations, and hopefully they can change the date, because if it's like on a Wednesday or Friday, I'd be there.
Awesome. Right. I mean, you can. Hey, you know what? I got 5 or 6 people that can't do Monday, but they can do a Wednesday or whatever. Like, let them know.
Oh yeah.
Back to that though. Did you go to any pre-release events, Sam?
Not myself. I was only able to just pick up product this time around. I wasn't able to hit up any of the sealed events like I normally do. I really like playing in the starter deck tournaments. That's my favorite sealed event to go to, I think. Draft is hit or miss for me. It has to be a good set for draft. I think this one is. Mm-hmm. Usually you know by how many removal songs there are, if it's going to be good or not.
Yeah,
right. And this one had a couple, so pretty good. But the starter deck tournaments are always fun, because it's usually just the price of the starter deck itself, and then where I play, it's usually pack per win on top of that too. So really fun. But I didn't get to do that this time around. I just opened product, but it was still fun. Pulled an enchanted. Was pretty happy about it.
Let's go.
Which one?
Spooky Sight.
Dude, sick one.
That's the same one I got.
Yeah,
that's amazing. Sweet. Well, I didn't get it. My wife got it. I should say.
I like it. I really like the flaming pumpkin.
Yeah, it's fancy.
It's pretty nice.
Awesome. Well, sorry, what was that? What was that, Kevin? Sorry, I missed you.
You got a Spooky Sight? That's what you said?
Yeah, I got a Spooky Sight as well. Or my wife got a Spooky Sight, I should say.
If I can't find anybody who wants to get that from me, it's probably going right in my deck. I'll just play it.
Just play it. Yeah, just play the enchanted, right? No.
Mm-hmm.
I'm also trying to deal
that's been
mine.
my strategy.
I'm a horrible human being, and I do not collect enchanteds. Well, I lie. We collect enchanteds, but certain enchanteds. And so if we get most of our enchanteds, we try to sell right away, right? So
Sure. Yeah, I mean, I with the enchantments that I don't intend to play and that aren't, that don't resonate with me, then I try and trade it so that I don't have to buy sealed product.
Yep.
So on that note, I pulled a Horned King enchanted in case anyone is wanting to trade me some Cindy's. I need some Cindy's.
Let's go. You and the entire Salt Lake Valley need Cindy's.
Right. I think that card's up to like $50. I'm like, I can't.
Oh, you wish.
63.
Oh, 63. Sheesh.
63.
I mean, we knew it was going to be like Dumbo. We all knew.
I did not think 60. I thought 50 for sure, but I did not think 60.
Yeah, I did not think it was going to be Dumbo round 2, but here we are, $63 on Saturday. Sunday.
Can you imagine getting a cold foil? Be so excited.
Pretty good.
Backflips.
Pretty good.
Yeah, or the Enchanted for real.
Yeah. I don't even know what I'd do with the Enchanted. I'd probably just cry for a minute.
Go to eBay and sell it.
Turn it into a playset plus more.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. Well, to that point, though, I think it's really important to note that even though some of these really popular cards that do skyrocket in price can be daunting, especially for new players or especially those like myself that have, budgets that we have to adhere to, and cardboard can be expensive. I think it's really important to look historically at cards that follow the same pattern and recognize that if you just exercise a little bit of patience, these things are going to drop. I mean, let's look at Tamatoa, the Happy as a Clam. Let's look at Maui Shark. Let's look at Dumbo. That all of those have hit anywhere between $40 and $60 per card, and that's for the non-foil. And they've all dropped. So just exercise some patience. Cinderella will come down eventually, and she will be made. And the longer that there's product out there, the more we pull, the more saturated the market's going to be. Like, she's not going to stay at $60. She's going to come down.
You said champs are till January, so you got some time.
Right.
Yeah, play with your proxies until January, right? Or until December. Ask for Cindy's for Christmas.
There you go.
I
was going to say, put it on your Christmas list, get it in your stocking.
Absolutely. I think, I don't know if Santa's elves can manufacture cardboard or not, but potentially that's possible. So we'll see.
I believe.
So speaking of pre-release events, I attended one today at Oasis Games. Love me some Oasis Games. I'll sit and gush about them. I call them my purple church, right? The building's purple, and so I'm there on Sunday every week, in attendance and spending money on cardboard, and it was a beautiful experience. We had lots of fun. We got to play with Josh himself, the owner or the co-owner, and he decidedly wiped the floor with me in the final match. So I was 2-0 and he gave me my first loss of the day, so it was great. But yeah, it was a fun event. We did the starter deck sealed. Always love the starter deck sealed. I feel like it's one of those formats that's really great, and I really enjoyed the sealed format this set as well. I thought Fabled was amazing too. Fabled was an amazing sealed experience. And then this sealed format has been great. I also attended a pre-release event that was not necessarily, I guess, what you would consider to be open for public, I guess. It was a pre-release event at Hearthside Games. So Hearthside Games is a new store by one of our own players. Andre Kredalfer is the co-owner or the co-owner of Hearthside Games. So he ran a sealed event, so 6 packs, right? Build a 40 card deck, 40 plus card deck with 6 packs, and it was a lot of fun. My deck was absolutely bonkers, absolutely cracked. I ended up pulling the MVP of sealed for me, which is Cheshire Cat. He is a legend, and as advertised, and I love him to death, so I just kept on moving damage every turn. I do have to call out some massive misplays done by ye old Judge Judy over here, which was I tried to boost twice in one turn. So I tried that, and my opponent was awesome. It was like no, you can't. And I was like, wait a minute, yeah, I can. And then I reread the card and I was like, you're right, I can't. And then today, when playing against Josh, I tried to exert a 3-cost card with the new song. I cannot recall off the top of my head. It's like a Mother's Knows Best type song that lets you exert a character, draw a card, and that character can't ready at the start of your next turn. Tried to target a 3-cost card with a card that targets 2-cost cards. And then I also decided to try to use the mouse robot without playing a character that turn. So
Nice.
yeah. So I did some really fat misplays throughout the event. So hey, reread your cards. Even judges make mistakes.
Perfect time to do that when every card's brand new.
Right. Learning process for sure. Also, shout out to Hearthside because Andre's amazing, and I really hope his store takes off.
Yep. I'm excited. I'm excited to see. It's just down the street from my house, so I'm just so excited that it's so close in proximity. I'm gonna be over there all the time, just supporting him, and this is gonna be a great experience to see new awesome stores jumping into the environment, and a player to boot, right? Somebody who's grown up through the Lorcana community, played a ton. I played a ton with him and both of his kids, Oliver and Emmett. So, I mean, just so exciting to see something like that happening with one of us, right?
Absolutely.
It's always fun, too, when you know the game store owner. It's such a different vibe when you're friends with them, so...
Yeah, you walk in there and it's... I mean, there's the... to be fair, I haven't had any horrible experiences in any of the game stores that I've gone into. They're all very welcoming majority of the time. But yeah, it is something different when you're walking into a store that you've been several times and there's an owner there that you know personally. So
definitely
feels a little less bad to drop a couple $100 on some cardboard.
A little.
You play the LDS lottery, as they say.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah,
I think it's the first time I've heard it referred to as the LDS lottery, and that's actually hilarious.
it is the only legal form of gambling in the state, I will say. And so, it's basically like buying your scratcher. And I was like, hey, if I got to justify it some way, I feel like that's the right way to justify it. So, especially now,
higher hit rate than the lottery system too.
I agree. You buy a pack of you go out there, you buy a pack of Whispers in the Well, and you pull a $63 Cinderella out of it. You're pretty happy.
That's money.
Yeah, that's good hit rates. The other thing that I wanted to mention about pre-release, and I don't know if it's just me, but I have heard through the grapevine that many stores are missing their OP kits, their organized play kits. Has anybody else heard the same?
I did hear through some grapevine talk that some stores were not going to be doing pre-orders for Whispers in the Well due to delays in either their product in general, or they were getting delays in their OP kits, and so they weren't able to allocate as much as what they wanted to for their events. I know that Game Grid Lehigh did experience a delay in delivery for their accessories, like the mats, the boxes, and stuff like that, which we finally did get that in, so hooray.
Nice.
But yeah, I think as far as some delays, I think it affected some stores more than others as far as allocations.
So you guys got your organized play kit over at Game Grid Lehigh then?
We did. We got ours, again, a little delayed, but we got it.
Nice.
When I went to pick up my product, I know that this was Game Grid North Ogden. Theirs was delayed as well, the OP kit. And along with that was the pre-order promo, too. I think it's the Horseman Strikes Back, something, that card?
Yeah, the pre-order promo, there's a buy a box promo, and then there's also a pre-release event promo as well.
Okay.
So there's 3 total promos that are relevant right now, and then you break into obviously your league promos, which are going to be a little different, right? But yeah, there was definitely some misses on those. I think I've heard through the grapevines that there's been multiple stores that have missed that. So if you're a player out there, just give your stores a little bit of a break. They're dealing with some delays from ye old Ravensburger, so hopefully they'll get all their stuff. And if you did buy a box or if you did do a pre-release event, hey, make sure you remind the stores. They're not perfect, right? Sometimes they forget these things, right? They're not going to always
Or they
remember.
don't even know.
Yeah.
Sometimes, they're like, oh, why did we get these stack of promos for? And then you got to let them know.
Yeah, walk in there. Hey, by the way, the great thing about that is, if you do something like that and you tell them about the fact that, hey, you got these pre-release promos, you got these buy a box promos, you're already a qualifier for these ink color pins that they offer within the organized play kits, which are meant for outstanding members of the community, right? People who come out and come to League and teach people to play the game and things like that. So, you mention these things to them, hey, make sure you do this stuff and give those stores a little bit of extra help that way. And when it comes down time to hand out those pins, you're likely to be the person that's going to get handed that pin and say, hey, thank you so much for reminding me about this, this organized play kit and making sure that our community is strong here in this store, right?
Mm-hmm. Oh, absolutely. One of the things that I try and give stores grace for is that while Lorcana may be your your only game or your main game, these stores run 10 plus, 15 plus different card games in different leagues and have tons of different events. Mm-hmm. So, yeah, you may know exactly what you're talking about, but every employee at a card store cannot know all of those games. Oh. So help them out. Let's show a little grace. Let's be proactive in our education and ask the questions that are pertinent without judgment, for sure.
Yeah. Give them some love. Give them some information on it.
More love. You can't see this, but I'm making a heart out of my...
Well, I think that kind of wraps up the discussion on pre-release events, right?
Yeah.
Excellent.
I wish I played it more. I would have loved to have... I want to play that, the Robin Hood. Oh, the Boost Robin Hood. I thought that would be a really good card in Sealed.
He did do some work. The one challenge that I ran into him was that he felt really slow because it's on quest. So and he's not a shift, and so it felt really challenging to kind of like place him and just wait a turn to be able to perform your action. But to be fair, I believe he's a 4 cost if I recall correctly, and the boost is 1. Is the boost 1? I don't remember.
Yeah, the boost is 1. That's why I kind of like it, is because you get so much value for very cheap boost cost.
Yeah, so he's a 4 cost, and I think the boost is 1, and then you come around the next turn, and you're able to... Basically, you don't have to boost the turn you play him, right? You play him, and then you boost, and then quest, right? So there's some stuff there that you can definitely run around with, and, dealing a single damage is great. Honestly, I think the magic number is the 2 number, and for that, the MVP was the David Xanatos card, the 3 cost 3/2. That when you play him, you can discard a card and deal 2 damage. Yeah, just fire the cannons with a body. Never bad there.
Do you guys ever check out the Frank Karsten usually drops a tier list for the Sealed format?
No, I didn't know he did that. He does that? I've been always wanting something like that.
Here, I'll drop it in our discussion so you can take a look. But I was just pulling that up to see if there was something I missed. So usually, like in the A tier, the S tier, you're gonna have like your legendaries, right? If you pull a Demona, you're just tilting the game, right?
Right.
But then he goes on, there's like super rares that are good, and then the uncommons and common section's always very interesting. What he says is very good.
Right.
So you got things like the Peter Pan that are the 1/3 that quest for 2 that's evasive.
That was huge.
Dragonfire is very good.
Yep. The Gwithant didn't feel big enough. He drove me crazy because I like him and he looks so imposing, but then you play him and you're like, oh, he's just a 4/3. Like, he dies to everything. So
yeah.
It was rough.
How do you say it? How do you say that card's name?
I was saying Gwithant.
Gwithant.
Gwithant. Yeah, I guess Gwithant is probably proper. I don't know. I'm going to have to...
Would be more impactful, honestly, when it was first revealed. I was like, that's a sick Amethyst card. But then I realized that literally every 5 cost in Amethyst is destructive.
Yeah, you got a high competition for that spot.
Yeah. But it is great in limited. Dragonfire. Oh my gosh. You think you can't get to 5 ink, but Dragonfire was the MVP. I had an opponent put down a Prince Charming, and I Dragonfired it, and I saw a small tier.
Oh, gross.
It was pretty nasty to do.
My favorite Sealed format was First Chapter, and it had so many very good cards. Dragonfire being one of them.
Yeah, it's an amazing for Sealed. And that Sudden Scare card I think is really good too. I mean, I think it maybe is a little less powerful in sealed because ink is such a premium in sealed. But I mean, 4 cost remove a card is so good for being inkable.
Well, a lot of times in sealed, you get to a point where you're both top decking, and that card's great in a top deck
Oh.
scenario.
Mm-hmm.
Percent.
Yep. You're just like, go ahead and double ramp. That's fine. You're still going to get 1 card.
Yeah, it's the same argument about playing the spooky side against aggro. Is they don't draw cards, so you can draw and play your next card all day long. I don't care how much ink you have.
Which, side note, that's why I think the Amethyst Amber is where that has the position to be the aggro deck specifically, is because Spooky Sight comes in, it throws everything into your inkwell, right? You got tons of ink. If you have the Amethyst Chronicon, you can still just make sure you're getting 2 characters every turn. Yeah, you're giving your opponent a card as well, but hopefully at that point, you're 16, 17, 18 lore, you're able to just dump a couple characters and say, answer these, right? And then kind of finish out the game. So anyway, so sorry to segue onto that, but I feel like that's why the Amethyst Amber feels like the potential aggro deck for me.
And I wonder if they ever get to a point too where they can just kind of drop Demona and then draw 3 cards or something.
Yeah, well, and that's the other question, right? Do you start seeing Demona as a dock
A draw.
2.0, right? Like it just becomes dock that it's inkable, right? Like you get it early, okay, throw it in the inkwell. But if you somehow get to 6 ink because they threw 6 of your characters into your inkwell, and you top deck it, then all of a sudden you're cooking. So, excellent.
Yeah, but if you haven't taken a look, go to TCG Player and look at Frank Carson's sealed tier list. It's pretty cool for those watching or listening.
Yep.
Check it out. Kind of fun.
Super good, obviously. This is one of those things that I think I've always wanted in knowing like what to look at, right? Especially when you're in a draft format, right? You're in a draft format, you're like, what the heck do I take out of this pack? This kind of gives you something to go for. And obviously you have to have a line you're looking for, but this is really sweet. I can't believe I've been sleeping on this. Thank you, Sam. This is great.
Yeah.
Awesome.
It's a chance to play cards that you never really would see in the meta too. Like there's that 4-drop that's just a 5/7.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
That's nuts. And in sealed, that card's crazy.
Yep. Just a big old body doing its thing.
She's huge.
Yep.
I honestly don't even know what IP that horse is from. Is it like a Zootopia?
That's
Is that-
Zootopia. That's the new
Yeah, I think
Zootopia
it's
movie.
Zootopia.
Which, I mean, side note, did you know that Zootopia has a promo drop in with it at the end of this month?
Yeah.
Go see it with your kids or your family or by yourself if you.
Is it a full art of the action, right? Is that detective action, right?
Right,
No,
it's
it's
the
not a detective action. I think it's a Judy Or no, it is. Is it the action?
It's a
It's
steel
the action.
detectives, I think, and
Putting it all together. Chosen opposing character can't challenge during their next turn. Draw a card.
oh, so it's not detective focused. Okay, apologies.
It's not detective. I thought it was, but it's not. But is it full art? I can't remember.
I don't think
It's
it's
not
full
full
art.
But it's foiled in different art, right?
Sorry.
Yeah, it's the glimmer foil with an alt art.
Yeah, Kevin, you were saying it's the glimmer foil, right?
So those are pretty. They did a good job with those.
Oh yeah, they're beautiful. Except for when they Pringle in the DLC.
Look at you, Elsa.
Looking at you, Elsa. Well, I think that kind of wraps up our pre-release stuff. And it jumps into our final segment today. And before this segment, I have to issue a very huge disclaimer. So, Sam and Kevin and we are on here talking about cards. We are talking about prices. We are on here talking about buying and selling and trading and all those great things that come with cards. But I have to preface this that we are not giving financial advice here. This is not somewhere where you should come in here and say, oh, these guys told me to go buy all this stuff and hold us to our word, because I will not want to go through any arbitration for this. And I sure hope I don't have to hire an attorney to come back and go back and forth with something like that. So we are not giving financial advice, and I'll say it again for those in the back. We are not giving financial advice. What we are providing is advice or personal experiences that we have and personal targets of our own. Do with that information as you will. So I'll say it one last time. This is not financial advice. All right, with that said, let's break into the discussion around Lorcana and something that I'm going to say is the do's and don'ts of buying, selling, and trading with a brand new set. So
This is like the price meta, right?
yeah, that's the price meta. This is what, and not
Yeah.
even the price meta, but the pack rip meta, in my opinion,
Mhm.
right? This is where, hey, you've gone and bought a product, you've bought some product, right? You're new to Lorcana, or not even new to Lorcana. You're with Lorcana for many years, and you've been, or for a year and a half now, and you've been ripping packs and all that good stuff. What the heck do you do with your cards after you've ripped them? And especially, we were talking about, like spooky side enchanteds. We're talking about epics. We're talking about things that maybe we don't want to keep, but we want to try to turn those into cards that we can use to play with, right? So with that said, I'll go ahead and hand over to you guys, and you guys go ahead and jump in here. So what are some practices you have? You've ripped some packs. You got brand new cards. You got things to push. What are you guys going to do with those cards?
I can jump in with some experience of my own. I'm not a collector. Jumped into the game initially through like the first and second sets, thinking, hey, you know what? I want to collect all the cards and have a play set, and that got far too expensive way too quickly. I made my own spreadsheet to track like all the different cards and copies of those cards that I have, and while I have kept up on it just for collecting a play set of cards, it's certainly turned away from collecting like enchantments and collecting foils because they're far too expensive for me. And I am most happy to admit that. The most cost-effective way of addressing or playing a card game is to go for the non-foils. And guess what? The non-foils do the exact same thing as the enchanteds. There's your non-foil Cindy at $60 does the exact same thing as like the $400 enchanted Cindy. So guess what? If you're going for a cost-effective route, go non-foils and trade in the pretty stuff that you have. I pivoted from trying to collect everything to just finding the things that, for lack of a better term, bring me a little bit of joy and the IPs that I most resonate with. So, like I said earlier in this episode, Emperor's New Groove is the best movie that has ever been produced by Disney, and I will die on that hill. And I'm working to try and collect all the Emperor's New Groove cards that I possibly can. That does include enchantments for me, so I have a few of those enchantments I have in my own personal binder that I like looking at from time to time, and they make me happy. That being said, I also recognize that there is a DLC promo in enchanted Cusco foil that I'm never going to get my hands on because it's like $4,000. Like, it's never going to happen, but it's always going to be on my bucket list of I will try and get it at one point, right? Mm-hmm. But I can occasionally open up a really cool card, like for, what was it? Ursula's Return. I opened up the Chase Enchanted. I opened up the Ursula, the 3-drop. And I felt super fortunate and super lucky, and I had my freak out moment, and then I immediately traded it for every card I needed in that set because I didn't want to buy any more sealed, and someone else was willing to provide that for me. Mm-hmm. So that's my recommendation. My experience says go for the non-foils, go for the things that make you happy.
Yeah, I mean, I'm a lot of the same way. People know me, I think, very well by the fact that I carry around a binder of foils with me everywhere I go, and it is all of my foils. So all of my foils are with me everywhere I go, when it comes to judging, when it comes to playing, and people are always asking, hey, do you got your foils on you? Absolutely. Here, go through them, pull them out. And I mean, sometimes you're making nothing, right? Sometimes you're making pennies on the dollar with them, because, you don't always want to, and this is for me, when I sell cards, I try to give the guy that I'm selling the cards, or the guy or girl that I'm selling the cards to, a deal, right? I'm trying to say, hey, if I was to try to sell these somewhere else, I'm going to have to take a haircut on them anyways. So I'm going to give you these for a decent deal. And especially if they're a foil card that's worth 20 cents, or, whatever, I'm going to give it to you for basically nothing. But I only take the non-foils. I'm not a foil chaser myself. I don't bling out my deck. I don't do any of that stuff. I just play with the very bare minimum that I need to be able to be competitive in a tournament. So,
advice I always like to give is trading is valuable. You can trade up, you can trade down. If you have a big stack of cards you think are useless, somebody wants them. Mm-hmm. If they're common, uncommon, maybe that's not the case. But if you have a stack of super rares, you have a stack of rares, somebody's going to need one eventually. So if you carry those with you, at some point they're going to become pretty useful. And with that, it's all just living within your means, right? If you can afford it, do what you want. At the end of the day, it's all cardboard. It doesn't really matter which version you have, just like Kevin said. If you have a foil, great. If you don't, great. It's still going to do the same effect. We all know those players that can't afford it and have crazy, cool, rare decks that have the enchanted in them. Cool to look at.
Yep.
But, for me, I never was really drawn to the enchanteds. Some of them are really cool, and I don't know. None of the IPs, like Kevin said, the Emperor's New Groove is his, but none of the IPs for me if it really wanted me to go out and buy an enchanted, except for last set, the Dumbo card. And it's not just because it was, the best card in the format, but that card is beautiful. I don't know if you guys have seen it in person.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
It's a crazy good-looking card. And I was so upset when it was the Chase card because I can't pay $400 for a card. It's just not going to happen. I just won't do that. So unfortunate that it's one of the better cards because some of the enchantments from the set are $60, and then you got one that's right around $240, so... Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's just the way it is sometimes. You got to kind of take it as you get it. But it becomes really cool when you pull one because, like Kevin said, you can trade it for almost every card you need out of the set or go out and find somebody who really wants it, and then you get a pretty penny for it. Mm-hmm. I kind of approach this game from a different perspective, though. I'm a competitor first and foremost. So if I need a card for an event, I will buy it. So I've got many a receipt on TCG Player, unfortunately, where it's... I needed every card before an event just because I didn't know what I was playing last set. Mm-hmm. Really sucked because Dumbo was way too expensive. It got to a point where the foils were like $5 more than the non-foils. So I walked away with 3 foil Dumbos that I really didn't want to buy, but had to because the event was a week away.
But yeah, if they're $5.
So sometimes it's good, sometimes it's not. But yeah, I know that there's some cards that are super underrated and flying under the radar right now in terms of price. If you're looking at cards you can kind of hop on before they shoot up in price, I'd be looking at Shere Khan. Mm-hmm. That blue-green list is probably going to play 2 copies, maybe 3 copies in some of the lists, and it's going to do well. So expect that card to jump up probably $15.
Yeah, I'm looking at him right now. He's sitting at 4, right? It's a legendary card. I pulled 0 of this card, and it is a tough one. So
it's not a card you're going to need a playset of, but it will jump in price. It's not going to sit at that $3 when it starts doing well at tournaments. I can promise you that.
And
it's going to be like the Namari of this set, where it randomly just shoots up for various reasons.
And I can promise you from experience personally too, there's been several times where I'm like, oh, I don't need a playset of this, I'm going to buy one, and then something comes up and it becomes a playset scenario, right? For me, like I said, I'm not giving financial advice. For me, I'm getting 4 of these. I'm getting 4 of them between now and probably the next 3 days. I'm going to try to track down probably 4 of these cards. So definitely.
There are also cards I'll wait on too. Like I don't think Webby is worth $23 or $25. I think that card's maybe $12 to $15 at the best. Mm-hmm. So you kind of just have to know from experience. You kind of just have to know the feeling on those types of cards, right? Competitively, it's a good card, but it's more expensive than Demona. I just don't agree with that. So I'm gonna wait on those cards to see if they drop a little bit before I pick them up. But unfortunately, I had to pay the Cinderella tax this set.
Yep.
Needed the best card because I'm playing in the CCQ Vegas in 2 weeks and can't afford not to.
Yep.
Congratulations. That's going to be fun.
It will be fun. Yep. It is expensive.
It can be. But I mean, like, if you're paying $120 for a box or if you're paying $120 for the exact card you need, I mean, it's kind of obvious what you need to do.
Well, to be fair, you're not buying a box and pulling 4 Cindy's. So I'm just going to tell you that it's not going to happen. So it comes down to you got to pull the Band-Aid off at some point and decide how you want to go forward with it. But if you're not playing in any tournaments, like I said, use those proxies. Maybe wait for the prices to fluctuate. Right, that's what I'm personally going to do with Cindy's is.
Ask your league. See if they're okay with proxies. I know sometimes up here we don't care. Mm-hmm. You can play proxies all league long if you really want to. We're not going to tell you no. But I know some game stores are different and some people are different too. Like I know some people feel very strongly about things like this. Especially if there's prizes on the line. If you're playing for pins or promos, it can get kind of heated. But ask your organizer, whoever runs your local league. Just say, hey, I'm expecting these cards, or I can't purchase these cards, but I want to play the deck. Is there anything we could do? Sometimes they'll accommodate you.
Speaking of things that I think are in the buy low category right now, I think for me, my family, very unique because I have 3 players in the family. So there is this beautiful Cheshire cat that I was mentioning earlier that is just the MVP of sealed right now. And it is sitting at $1 right now. It is a super rare card, and I've pulled 3 out of 2 boxes and 2 troves. I'm going to have 12 of those. So that's my plan for those at $1. Just to give you a little bit of a comparison, something like this reminds me of, not, I guess maybe Genie could be one of those cards. Genie Wish Fulfilled could be one of those cards, and he's a rare, right? So he's even less rare than this particular card. But really, it does fall into that Belle Accomplished Mystic category, which Belle Accomplished Mystic in her heyday when she was running 4 of, you're seeing that was running at $12, $13 a card. So, I mean, this card at $1 to me is absolutely worth the investment. So I'm going to go ahead and pick up 9 more of these bad boys as soon as possible. Anybody who's willing to sell them, I'm buying them this dollar mark. So, and it's also one of those where even though we were talking a little bit of smack on foils earlier, it's even one of those scenarios where if there's a foil out there, I might even just grab it, just to have as trade bait for later. If it does jump up in price, the regular does, and you got those folks that want to bling out their decks. And I mean, side note, the foiling on the Whispers is just magical. So
I was going to bring that up. In case you didn't know, it is different on the boosted cards.
Yeah, the foils on those Whispers, it is a completely different foiling effect, and it just makes you feel like $1 million when you pull it out of a pack. So,
completely side note, but I pulled the Zeus, like the character Zeus boost card, the Whisper.
Yeah.
His foiling is in a way that the character is almost invisible. He's completely like all foiled out, and he looks almost invisible.
Yeah.
It's super interesting card to pull. I was like, whoa, why is this guy? He's like all yellow and foiled. It kind of just looks like one.
Yeah, it looks like one bubble almost. It looks like a bubble on the card, basically. It's fun.
But I also have another buy low too, and it is a super rare. The Headless Horseman, the Steel 8-drop. Mm-hmm. That card, I think it's going to be a little bit more than 75 cents. I just have a feeling.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it's wild to see these super rares and these rares that have some pretty insane effects that are sitting. And I mean, even the Ursula, right? The rare Ursula Whisper, she's a 5 cost. I mean, I think the challenge with her is that she fills that 5 cost category in Amethyst. That's really kind of very filled. But I mean, it's a 5 cost 4/5, and it's a boost 1. And when you got a card underneath her, she gains an extra lore pip. So she quests for 3, and she gains evasive. So I mean, just one of those cards that can just close a game for you, right? Like you bring it in there, you can just close it out. It's just nuts.
Survivor Bolt, like she's evasive. She's just a disgusting card. But Amethyst 5-drop slot is like the most disgusting slot in all of Lorcana. So
it's really gross.
I just don't understand why they just keep printing pure gold in that slot.
Well, they make you, like I was saying last episode, right? It feels like Amethyst. They're kind of trying to muddy the waters a bit to make you have to choose your fate, right? Like, which card draw do you want? Okay, now which 5 cost do you want? And like, which line are you gonna take here?
Well, how can I fit all of this in one deck? My deck's 75 cards.
I mean, the question that my wife asked was, when do we go beyond, the 60 number? When do we start going up there? There's been successful decks at 67 cards. So where do we draw the line?
Back my mill strategy. I need a mill resurgence.
Well, somebody was asking if the boost potentially changes the mill strategy in maybe in your Infinity Constructed, right? So who knows?
Yeah.
Can you boost onto your opponent's cards?
No.
Like if okay.
No,
like all those cards that say like put a card on your boost, you can't do to your opponents, right?
I don't think so.
I don't think there's a card that did that, but if there was, it'd be kind of a silly way to mill your opponent.
Yeah,
Mhm.
Emily Quackfaster, when you play this character, you may put the top card of your deck face down under one
Okay,
of
yeah.
your characters or locations with boost. So it's not a chosen, right?
I just wanted to have fun.
That would be interesting to do. Just like, I'm going to boost your
Yeah.
character.
Another card that I think is interesting and maybe goes under the radar at the moment is the super rare Little John, the Whisper.
Mm-hmm.
This drop uninkable with 3 boosts, and whenever you put a card under him, you ready him.
Mm-hmm.
It's plus for 3, man.
Mm-hmm.
Like, so you could get a 6 lore turn the turn after you play him.
Well, you could also what is that
You
quack
forgot.
card? The duck. What does
You,
it cost?
I'm
Yeah, the
thinking
Emily Quackfaster.
Yeah.
You can Emily
Oh, yeah.
Quackfaster at 2, and then you can get 9.
Yeah, you can get 9.
Because you're
Well,
playing
I
him
mean,
for
or more.
6.
and if you play You Came Back, you just ready it that turn and do it again.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, the card is.
Yeah, Little John is definitely one of those. And it's just interesting to see for me, because previous sets, I don't recall this ever being a thing with super rares and rares where they kind of started off really, really low. And then, it was all, like right now, it's all focused on the legendaries. Like every piece of focus right now is on the legendaries. And it feels like these super rares and rares are almost just flying under the radar completely. And there might be something there to be able to grab these cards and get a good return on your investment there.
Yeah, I think so too.
Yeah, I think you're both right.
So,
It's I don't know if it's just the amount of product was available day one has just been higher than it was in the past, but a few of these cards just seem a little bit lower than I would have thought.
Mhm.
Even some of the legendaries, like I think Demona is sitting at a price that's a little below what I expected.
Also,
I thought it would settle around $30, but it's 20 right now.
I'm also
That's
pretty
not-
surprised at the Headless Horseman. Like I understand he's a a headless Madame Medusa, but being able to just banish a 2 strength or less character when you play a card, that's a pretty great effect, right? And I mean anything that has an on play effect is usually going to be something that you want to look for. But yeah, it's amazing. So
I mean, to that point, we still have what was that 2-cost blue item that reduces it by 2, the strength by 2?
oh, the Sapphire Coil.
The coil. Like, we still have coil.
Yeah.
So, I
Yeah.
mean, I understand why that strategy hasn't cropped up again, because it's the same thing.
You've got Sisu, you've got the new Headless Horseman.
I think the challenge is it's uninkable. So there's that, right? I think the uninkable
And it's red.
factor, and it's red, because red is just, it's the redheaded stepchild effectively at this point, right?
Yeah.
So, but yeah, I think
Fortunate.
it could be interesting. I mean, $8, you're risking it. I think this is one of those where you're kind of risking it for the biscuit here. This may be one where you want to pull packs, but I did just arrange a trade for 3 of these. So, it's one of those where I'm getting it personally. I want to grab them. I want to try to get my play sets where I can, and that's where, I'm arranging trades with epics. I'm arranging trades with whatever I've got. Shifting gears a little bit when it comes to ripping packs and selling cards that you pulled from those packs. Something that I found out through my own failures was holding an enchanted from a set beyond week 3 is a very bad idea. Holding an enchanted and expecting the value to raise is a very bad idea. Now, what I found is there is still a risk both sides of the coin, right? So if you've got one of those awesome enchanteds and you're trying to deal that thing, putting out a price that's over the quote-unquote TCG player value, which doesn't exist at this point because there's been 0 sales for that card. Putting a price over that is not bad as long as you're willing to negotiate. Make sure you're willing to negotiate for those prices with that person that's reaching out to you. Negotiate in good faith, talk through it, be honest about the way you're feeling about the negotiation and what's happening. But first and foremost, in my opinion, if you don't want that card, or if you're really focused on trying to get more product, or you're focused on trying to get whatever value you can out of that card, you may need to take a haircut on it. You may need to just push it out quick, because you may push it out for $10 less than you wanted to sell it, or $40 less than you wanted to sell it now, but in 3 weeks it may be worth $80 less than you originally thought it was worth, right? So get that enchanted out of your hand. You know, both sides of the coin do exist too, though. So when you're making negotiations, right, this can also jump up $80, right? This card could also do that, right? You could have a meta deck that comes out and this card's huge. It can jump 80. You're taking a risk either direction. So when you're negotiating that sale, hey, I'm taking a risk, you're taking a risk. Let's work it out. Let's figure out where we're both comfortable and let's make that deal, right?
I think a really good example of the ups and downs of a particular card are with, I mean, the one I mentioned earlier, or the two I mentioned earlier is Tamatoa Happy as a Clam and Maui Shark. They were super expensive, and Tamatoa had an enchanted, and they were super expensive for while they were pertinent and in the meta. And then as soon as, you know, rotations happened, Popsicle was dropped, like Tamatoa's price for both of the cards was over halved. Like, so you gotta be a little aware of what's happening within the game itself to really capitalize on some of this as well.
I have a great story for this exact situation. Friend of ours, Connor, or in the community known as Saucy, he pulled a Tamatoa Happy as a Clam enchanted out of some prize packs. He traded that card at its peak for 4 enchanted Clarabelles.
Dang.
So at the time, enchanted Clarabelle was worth such that 4 of them equaled the 1 enchanted Tamatoa. Fast forward, you know, maybe 3 months ago, where Clarabelle is skyrocketed because of that blue-green deck, right? And now Happy as a Clam Tamatoa has dropped probably by 10 times. So now you're sitting on enchanted Clarabelle playset that just went up to, you know, $750 for the whole playset when you traded it for $400 value. You know, that stuff can just happen. It's really that stuff you cannot predict.
No.
So it's always a risk, like he said, but you can't predict that. You never know that they're going to print some card that makes another card good again. You just can't.
Or remove cards from the meta that make them completely useless, right?
Yeah. Like you took, what was it? Diablo Enchanted was crazy expensive. Ursula Enchanted was crazy expensive, and then rotation happens, and they're $40, $30.
I mean, the biggest one, right? Rapunzel Gifted with Healing, right? That one.
My girl.
Yeah, I mean, and then not obviously not an enchanted, right? But just a $60 card that just dropped like a rock immediately after, not even after it was announced as rotation, after leaks announced that it wasn't in rotation, right? Like it dropped immediately. And so, you know, you're seeing that. But I think to me, like the biggest takeaway that I've learned as a pack ripper / player, right? And I also want to preface this, like what Kevin said, I am not a collector by any means, right? Like the main thing, my main goal is get the cards I need to be able to play the game. And so, you know, when I rip packs and I get that card, the first thing I see is, all right, I can buy more product with this, or I can move this for other cards. Get it out, get it moved, post it on the Facebook page. You know, if you've got an eBay, more power to you, sell it on eBay. I mean, do whatever you can to try to find ways to make what you need to from these cards within the first 2 weeks. Because after the first 2 weeks, all bets are off, right? You either sat on a card and it's grown in price and you're happy, or you've sat on a card and it's plummeted and you're kind of saying, great, I've got this card that's going to sit in my binder for the next 4 months until somebody buys it off me for a fraction of what I was hoping to get for it. So I think we've crushed our agenda here for this week. Do we have anything else that we wanted to highlight before we drop off?
I think this set is looking really fun.
Yeah,
if you're playing Lorcana right now, you're having a good time, I think.
I think there's so much innovation that's going into this new set, and I think that was one of the complaints of the Fabled set, was that there just wasn't that much innovation that was able to enter into the competitive scene, and I think this is a really cool time for Lorcana.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think
if you were doubting last set, this set has a really good turnaround, and I really like what they're doing, and I hope it carries forward.
And I think, like I said, like I was saying earlier, and I'm not going to say that I'm an expert at the meta or whatnot, but when I look at this, I just cannot see anything that's jumping out to me right away. It feels like it's just wide open. It feels like the detective synergy might have something. I was messing with it today in sealed, and I'm like, man, there might be a detective deck out there that could really start cooking. I don't know exactly where this set's going to take us, but it's very exciting. I agree. I agree wholeheartedly with you and Kevin, Sam.
All right. Well, all you Lorcana players, just go have fun. That's all I'm saying.
Let's go.
Yeah.
Awesome. We'll conclude episode 2. We'll see you guys next week. Tune in to our Discord there, and give us some comments, give us some feedback. Thank you for everybody who gave us feedback. I did not type on my keyboard the entire time. I did my best. I might have clicked my mouse a couple of times. I will say that, but hopefully you guys didn't hear my keyboard clacking. So thank you for the feedback. I appreciate it.
And same for anyone that reached out to me. I appreciate your feedback. I recognize the slip ups that I had in the last episode. I was tired. So my favorite combination of inks is amber steel, not amethyst steel.
All right. See you guys.
Bye.